On an ordinary afternoon in 79 AD, a bakery in a busy Roman city had fresh bread still sitting in the oven. A dog was chained in a courtyard. A group of people had taken shelter together, huddled close, waiting for something to pass. Then, in less than a day, all of it stopped. Not decayed, not destroyed. Frozen. In place, mid-motion, exactly as it was. Almost 2,000 years later, we can still see the shape of the moment it happened. This is Atlasora. Step beyond the map. The city was Pompeii, a prosperous Roman town near the Bay of Naples, home to somewhere between 11,000 and 20,000 people. On August 24, 79 AD, nearby Mount Vesuvius erupted. And it didn't happen slowly. Within hours, the volcano sent a column of ash and pumice miles into the sky before collapsing into fast-moving clouds of superheated gas and volcanic debris that swept down the mountainside and buried the city. Pompeii wasn't just damaged, it was completely entombed, sealed beneath layers of ash and pumice up to 20 feet deep, in some places within a single day. For centuries, it simply disappeared from view. Not lost to memory entirely, but buried so thoroughly that the exact location faded from common knowledge, until construction workers stumbled onto its ruins in the late 1500s, and serious excavation didn't begin until the 1740s. Here's what separates Pompeii from almost every other ancient ruin: the speed of the disaster. Most ancient cities decay slowly. Buildings collapse over centuries. Materials get repurposed. Evidence of daily life is worn away. Pompeii didn't have time to decay. It was buried so quickly that the city was preserved in a single frozen moment, rather than a slow fade. Bread was still in ovens. Wall paintings kept their original color, protected from centuries of sun and weather. Political campaign slogans and graffiti were still legible on the walls. Casual jokes and complaints written by ordinary residents, never meant to survive 2,000 years. And then there are the plaster casts, one of the most haunting discoveries in archaeology. In the 1860s, an excavator named Giuseppe Fiorelli noticed that the ash around some victims had hardened into a shell, while the bodies inside had long since decomposed, leaving behind hollow voids in the shape of a person. Fiorelli's solution? Pour liquid plaster into those voids. The result was a perfect cast of a human figure at the exact moment of death, including facial expressions, clothing folds, and even the position of a dog straining against its chain. It's easy to look at Pompeii as a snapshot of ancient daily life, and it is. But it's also something more uncomfortable, a snapshot of the last moments of thousands of real people who had no idea their ordinary afternoon would become the most studied day in the history of Roman archaeology. Some tried to flee toward the coast. Others sheltered in place, likely hoping the worst had already passed. Modern volcanology suggests that the later pyroclastic surges, the fast-moving clouds of heat and gas, were fatal within seconds, meaning many people likely didn't even understand what was happening to them in their final moments. That's part of what makes Pompeii different from a typical lost city mystery. There's no ambiguity about what happened here or why. The mystery isn't the disaster. It's the strange intimacy of seeing an entire ordinary day preserved in such detail that visitors 2,000 years later can still read the jokes people scratched into the walls. A city that didn't fade into ruin. A city that stopped, mid-sentence, in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, and stayed that way for almost 2,000 years. We know exactly what happened at Pompeii. What still lands hardest isn't the mystery of it. It's how familiar it feels. Bread in an oven, a dog on a leash, people waiting together for something to pass. Some places the map just runs out. If you want to keep going past the edge of it, subscribe and I'll see you at the next ruin. This has been Atlasora.